OHS, Mr. Buchanan here. Very excited this week to share some skills, some tricks, and a couple of modified games in the world of tennis. Quick shout out to Coach Dan at the Abney Family Tennis Center. Been working with Dan a few years now in the cardio program. Really miss you, buddy. And also a shout out to Mr. Larry Wood from OHS, who's been a really great friend, my mentor, and also a tennis guru. So if you have a tennis racket at home, grab your tennis racket, grab a tennis ball. Today I'm going to be using an Orange Dot tennis ball because this is what my daughters use when they have their lessons. But if you're saying, Mr. B, I don't have a tennis racket, well, grab any sort of ball. And hey, what about a frying pan? I've seen some videos on YouTube, some people using the frying pan. Always make sure you ask your parents though, you don't want to get in trouble. I know my wife would probably be very upset if she knew I had a frying pan right now, but let's go with that. So first thing up, before we start, we want to make sure that we have the proper grip. I'm right hand dominant, so I'm going to grab the racket from the right side, but instead of holding the racket straight up and down, I'm actually going to hold on an angle. Kind of gives me a little bit of an open side to the racket. Also, this would be called a forehand today, so I'm going to open up my body when I swing, but also thinking of the back of my hand, open up the racket and follow through with the backhand. So forehand and our backhand today. Before I start, I want to kind of warm up my wrists, my hands, my fingertips. So I'm just going to grab two tennis balls and I'm just going to start juggling, just trying to keep that ball up. All I'm doing is I'm passing the ball down low and keeping it up in the air. Just getting those wrists warmed up, getting the hands, getting the fingertips. Awesome. So the first thing I want to do to kind of get used to my racket and get used to the ball is something I want to call low, medium, and high. So I'm going to bounce the ball with my racket off the ground 5 times, then medium bounces off my racket 5, and I'm going to do 5 high in the air, and then bring it back down to 5 in the middle, and then try again off the ground. So here we go. Next up, I want to get used to my forehand and my backhand. So I'm going to bounce the ball, and as it goes up in the air, I'm going to try and switch my wrist back and forth to see if I can get some control. I'm going to see how long I can do it. My goal is to try and get about 10 in a row. Next trick that I want to work on is I want to try and get the ball up in the air, but while the ball is up in the air, I want to focus on the ball and I want to bring my racket up and around and then try and bounce. So I'm going to try and put a lot of hand-eye coordination in this one. My goal is to try and get 5 in a row. Let's see how I do. Next up, and to be honest, I've been working on this one for quite a few days. I'm going to try and bounce the ball off the racket, but then I'm going to flip my racket over sideways. So I'm going to try and actually bounce the ball off the edge and then bring it back. My goal is to try and get 10 in a row. If I get 5, that's great. If I can get up to 10, awesome. More than that, perfect. Then I'm going to try and go 1 bounce, 1 edge, and then I'm going to try and do just edge. Here we go, OHS. Awesome. And the last trick I want to show you is kind of a hit, track the ball, and then I'm going to bring my racket and I'm going to try and stop the ball right on the racket. I'm going to try and do 5 in a row for this one. So as I hit the ball up, I'm going to track it See if I can get it under control before it hits the ground. Here we go. Okay, OHS, now I want to get into the 3 modified games I want to show you here for tennis. I have a garage door that I'm going to use, but any sort of side of a building would work as well, but make sure you have permission. You don't want to be using anything that's going to be a safety concern, especially around windows and so on. This is a shout out to my good friend Mark Garnett. He showed me a video of his boys playing with a wall ball, so I thought I'd show you this as well. So on the wall, I'm going to try and use my forehand and also my backhand. And my goal is to try and get a little rally going. And I'm going to try and hit the ball off the garage door and then let it bounce once, and then I'm going to try and hit it back and see how many I can get in a row. So I got about 5 or 6 in a row there, felt pretty good. You can always adjust, meaning you can add 2 bounces into before you make contact with the racket, or you can even move up a little bit and try to do what a game called pepper, meaning trying to hit the ball back and forth off of the garage door. The second game, OHS, is kind of like a target game. So I'm going to use my racket and I'm going to try and aim the ball towards one of the 6 numbers. So I just kind of added about what tennis net would look like, kind of about this height. And I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm just going to rally, use my forehand or my backhand, depending on where the ball is. And I'm just going to try and see if I can hit those targets. And if I do, I could add points, or I can just see if I can get all 6. It may take me quite a few tries, but it kind of gives you that practice of trying to get that aim. So the last game, OHS, is trying to make a real modified tennis game. So I've taken 3 pieces of black construction paper and tried to make it about net height. And I'm going to rally using my racket and the ball. And I'm going to try and keep that ball right above those 3 black pieces of paper. So to kind of modify what a game would look like, various ways I can do this. I can see how many times I get it over in a row. I could try and do actual tennis points. Or if I have the ball hit the black piece of paper or below, or of course any part of the house, then I could stop and start my rally again. Kind of looks like this. So I hope you had some fun, OHS, some skills, some tricks, and 3 different types of modified games you can try out. Of course, if you have a tennis racket, great. Frying pan, hey, why not? Give it a try. Remember that grip though. Remember kind of holding it on an angle. Remember your forehand. Remember your backhand. Any sort of ball will do. Tennis balls are great, but any sort of bouncing ball as well. Oh yeah, and one last thing, OHS.